After every chapter in Paper Mario, you get a new Star Spirit ability, with 7 in total, 9 if you include Star and Peach Beam, and a good amount of them honestly aren't that good, so I'm gonna rank them, starting with number 9, Star Beam. How Star Beam works is that it'll remove enemies' statuses. This could be so good, but you get it after finishing the second to last chapter, meaning the only times you can use it is Chapter 8 in Final Bowser. You could make an argument that at least it's useful in Chapter 8, but I don't know if it really even is. The way that I see it is that yes, I could spend Mario's turn using a Star Beam to remove this Koopa Troll's charge, or I could just kill the Koopa Troll instead. I could also use it to remove the invisibility given by this Magic Koopa, for example, or I could just run away from the battle. It's really not that big of a deal. I have enough HP anyways. Even for Bowser, it's really hard to describe what I mean, but like, Star Beam isn't some ability that's like really useful or something for the fight. It's just, I do this. No, you don't. Okay. It's just a thing that you have to do sometimes, not something that actually helps. The only redeeming quality for Star Beam is that it's 0 SP, but still, I just don't see the value of it outside of Final Bowser. Number 8, Peach Beam. It's just an upgraded Star Beam that's only in the final phase of the fight. It does literally nothing but counter the power-up that Bowser just got like 3 minutes ago. Woo! Number 7, Up and Away. Is this a controversial opinion? I don't know. How it works is that if it works, enemies will go up and away and be gone from the battlefield. This Star Spirit, while it does a thing, and does that thing pretty well, I just never need it. This is an insta-kill, so it should sound great, but you get no star points from it. And this is gonna sound crazy, but if you don't want to be in the battle, also don't care if you don't get the XP, just run away from the battle. With Up and Away, you get the coin drops, I guess? Thanks, but it's really not that big of a deal. The only time this is really useful is mandatory fights with regular enemies, but the only time that's really a problem is the Klubba statues in Crystal Palace. So I guess you can use it then, but I don't know. I'd still rather just actually fight the enemies and get the XP, because I am not going to be getting the XP from grinding all these other regular enemies. And then on top of that, you can't forget to mention that it's only a chance that it works. Yeah, it's a 95% chance, but still, sometimes it just won't work, so what's the point? So Up and Away does do its job decently well, I guess? So it's not D tier or anything, but said job just isn't very useful, so it's stuck in B tier for me. Number 6, Timeout. This Star Spirit is basically useless. How it works is that there's a chance for enemies to become immobilized. Keyword chance. Using it against normal enemies, I feel the same way as I did for Star Beam. Yeah, I could spend 2 SP immobilizing the enemies and then attack them, or I can just run around them instead and save the SP. Even for bosses, against Crystal King compared to Chill Out, it has 1 extra turn, but it's only a 50% chance it'll even work, so overall Chill Out will affect more turns anyways. And for Final Bowser, it's useless. So it's not helpful against regular enemies, or the 2 boss fights it can be used on, so it just doesn't have a purpose. It at least gives you the XP though, so I'm putting it above Up and Away. Number 5, Lullaby. With Lullaby, you can put enemies to sleep, making them not able to attack for a few turns. That sounds familiar. While under most circumstances, Lullaby is just as useless as Timeout, Anti-Guy is 50% susceptible to it, so if you pair that with Cooper's Dizzy Shell, which is also a 50% chance, you can stunlock him decently effectively. This also works with Can't See Koopa, who's 80% susceptible. This means that with just a little bit of luck, you can stunlock 2 pretty decently difficult boss fights. For these 2 fights, Lullaby is really good enough to carry it into B tier, but if it wasn't for them, this would probably go down in C tier right next to Timeout, with the only benefit of Lullaby outside of these 2 fights being at least that you get it earlier in the game. The main use of Lullaby, using it against regular enemies, just isn't very helpful in my opinion, but it does have 2 genuinely pretty useful uses, so it goes in B tier. Number 4, Smooch. If you use Smooch, it heals you for 20 HP. Yeah, that's it, it's pretty simple. 20 HP is a pretty good amount. It's the majority, if not all of your health if you're better at the game and have low HP. And even if you have 50 HP, it's still a lot to be able to do infinitely for no coins. The only downside to Smooch is that it's 3 SP, making it the most expensive Star Spirit ability. That's a lot of SP for only 20 health. The issue isn't particularly that 20 health is bad, but just that there are many easier ways to heal 20 HP. If you're fighting normal enemies, you can just go to a Toad House. And if you're in a boss fight, 3 SP is just too expensive. But even still, there are a lot of smaller cases where it's pretty helpful, especially if you're lazy, so I'll put it respectfully in A tier. If it costed less SP or healed just a little bit more health, even just 25, I'd probably rank it better, but as it is, it's pretty good. Number 3, Refresh. Now, before you get mad at me, a really important factor in how I'm ranking these Star Spirits is at what point in the game you get them. Refresh heals you for 5 HP and 5 FP, so if we're ranking which are the best for Chapter 8, I'd probably put Refresh at the bottom of the list because it does nothing. But for a pretty good amount of the game, it's pretty good. While 5 HP and 5 FP on their own aren't anything crazy, being able to do both at the same time for 1 SP is really good. For example, if you enter Tutankoopa with 10 FP, you can spam Power Jump in an upgraded Shell Shot, refresh once when you run out of FP, and get a perfect kill on him. Once you get into Chapter 5-ish, the enemies start doing well over 5 HP per turn, and your attacks cost well over 5 FP too, so it's not great, but even still, if you play the game with low HP, which is pretty overpowered in the first 2 Paper Mario games, a refresh can be a 50% heal or even a full heal for only 1 SP. And while I'm putting refresh at number 3, there's arguments to be made that it should be honestly anywhere in the ranking depending on how you play the game. If you play pretty casually, you might say that it should be low for how little HP and FP it heals later in the game, but depending on how you apply ranks on a tier list, you could say that yeah, later in the game it's not that good, but earlier in the game it serves its purpose well. But then for me, since I like to play at 5 maximum HP, that's an insta-heal with a little FP bonus. It could easily be anywhere in the ranking depending on how you play the game, and that's really cool. For me, I think a high A tier is valid because of how useful it is earlier in the game, and if 5 HP isn't enough for you, as soon as refresh starts to get bad, you get Smooch. So, number 2, Starstorm. This is kind of a funny thing to rank. Starstorm does 7 damage to all enemies, piercing. For a single enemy, 7 damage for 2 SP is just too much. But for a crowd, that's insane damage. But the reason why I love Starstorm so much is that Starstorm is the lazy strategy for Paper Mario, and hell yeah, I love lazy strats. The 7 damage piercing will nearly one-shot pretty much every non-boss enemy until Chapter 7. But even once you do get into Chapter 7, you have enough FP by that point and you can just Starstorm Powerbomb everything and have the ultimate lazy strategy. Being completely fair, Starstorm should probably be in high A tier due to how it falls off later in the game, but I'm lazy and this is a biased list, so I don't care. Number 2. And number 1, Chill Out. This was a little painful to put at number 1, considering how much I overuse Starstorm, but my god, Chill Out is just too overpowered, I had to. How it works is that if it works, it'll lower enemy attack damage by 3. 3! If an enemy does 5 damage, which is a lot, just use Chill Out and hit the action command, and they do 1 damage. Or, better yet, stack damage dodge on top of that, and you can easily tank 5 damage attacks. Crystal King literally can't touch you if you do this. And if that's not good enough, you get this after beating Chapter 4. You have half the game to use this. And to make it even better, remember when I said, if it works? Yeah, that was a lie. The description of the Star Spirit in battle says, if it works, but everywhere else it doesn't because it's a 100% chance against every single enemy, even Final Bowser. Chill Out Huff and Puff and all the Tough Puffs will also be chilled out, and neither of them can even touch you. All of this for 2 SP by the way. I had Final Form Master's most powerful attack do 1 damage when stacked with just a few badges. If this list was 100% biased, I would probably put Starstorm at number 1 just because I'm lazy. But I just can't ignore just how overpowered this is. Yeah, it'll only last a few turns, but it's only 2 SP, just spam it. By the time that you run out of your SP, they're probably dead anyways. And if not, just focus once or twice and you'll have enough. It's so good. But the main reason, in my opinion, why Chill Out is the best, is that there's nothing else in the game that serves the same purpose. For Refresh and Smooch, you could use items instead. For Starstorm, there's attacks that do nearly that damage and attacks that pierce, and Starstorm is just kinda useless. But there's nothing that serves the same purpose as Chill Out. There are other things in the game that lower enemy attack like Shrink Stomp, but there's nothing that's a 100% chance to apply to every single enemy. Honestly, I'd argue that Chill Out is more valuable than an Ultra Shroom for boss fights, because who needs healing when you're taking no damage in the first place? It's completely broken. And that's just the way that I like it. I started to make this video because I thought it would be a 4-something minute video that would have been easier to make, which would have been really nice because of another video I spent a long time on and then cancelled, but apparently I had a lot more to say on this topic than I thought. I'm writing the rough draft for this script on New Year's Eve, so this video won't be out until 2025, and I really want this year to be the year that I finally get monetized. I can't promise anything, but that's going to be my goal for this year. Not because I'm greedy and I just want money or whatever. I just really don't want to work customer service 9 to 5 and get paid nothing my whole life, you know? Anyways though, bye.